must say, you've got the best projecting voice I have ever heard.
Hey, well, I just want to tell you a real quick funny story. The congregation wouldn't let me sit up in the pulpit. They put me down in the first word because it was too loud.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. At least for my ears, that is. Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. Any items from the public? Thank you.
Would you identify yourself?
Delegate Larry Kump, outgoing delegate from District 59, sometimes called Biscuit.
Okay.
Outgoing.
Outgoing. Got a couple, three things that I wanted to bring to your attention this morning. One, and the first thing that was on my mind, was Sportsman's Paradise. I was real excited recently to read about the ongoing acquisitions that Berkeley County's done with the upgrade and improvements to Sportsman's Paradise. I remember many years ago, more than I'd like to remember, my dad was a real estate broker, and he'd have me travel with me when he had to do a transaction in Sportsman's Paradise because it was so dangerous. It's been a big improvement over the years, and I look forward to the further improvements. In the same vein, I'd like something similar done with the historic Civil War battle site in Falling Waters with the recreational and tourism opportunities. But the main reason I wanted to speak to the council this morning was that, as you know, there's been a federal grant of $1.25 billion to West Virginia regarding the COVID-19 virus. That money has not been dispersed. The governor, I understand his reasoning, has been holding on to it, hoping Congress and the president would allow more flexibility with it so he can backfill some of the state budget. The governor has not chosen to have a special session of the legislature on this issue, but there is another mechanism where a special legislature session can be granted, and that's with a supermajority of the legislature to call the session themselves. Monday, I received notice from Dan Greer, legal counsel for the West Virginia House of Delegates leadership, starting a discussion of the legislature actually enacting a declaration to convene a special session of the legislature on this $1.25 billion. Whether or not this is going to happen or not, we have to see. It has to be a bipartisan buy-in because we need a supermajority of both the House and the Senate. But it is an ongoing proposition. It is an issue that I believe, and I put in my 2 cents and sent a certified letter to the governor stating that I was in support of that. But this is information I think is important. I think it's information that should be shared with the county council. And that's all I have to say about that.
Just a quick question. Do you think if it is dispersed to the counties as a evenly amount, do you think it should be done under per capita and the
I think it should be done per capita.
per capita per
I think
county?
that's the fairest way.
So the question, the question I've got, and I know we don't want to get into a bunch of back and forth here.
Right.
If is the governor required to be influenced by the decision of legislature in order to disperse that funds, or does he have the right to disperse that funds?
Absent a special session of the legislature, he has authority to disperse it at his own discretion.
Right.
Which is why we are much concerned about calling a special session of the legislature, which is not something you want to do just as a whim because of the expense of it. But when you talk about $1.25 billion, I think a special session would be justified.
You could, since you're going to have some free time, maybe you could work with Elaine down there. She's working on Sportsman's Paradise for a long time, trying to talk about a boat ramp and different things. You could probably have some influence in state government with was the fisheries, wasn't it?
Department of Fisheries, yeah.
Department of Fisheries?
Putting a boat ramp down there.
Because we started 4 years ago, and I thought we were gonna go somewhere, and the guy we were working with retired. So that's.
Well, that was nasty.
Huh?
That was nasty that he went and retired.
Yeah.
Some of these things just happen to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when you take a while to get something done too. Government
the gears of government grind slowly sometimes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Let's see. Approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Vice President, I move we approve the agenda for Thursday, June the 18th, if there's no modifications or corrections.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that moves us right down to the purchase order. Any questions on the purchase order?
Mr. Vice President, if I may, this will be the last purchase order of the current fiscal year. You can see it is large in size as far as the number of items on it. It's primarily due to payment of all of the contractors for the primary election. We have 10 rovers, 1 contractor, 5 poll workers who attended classes only but did not work the polls, 297 poll workers in 14 polling places on this purchase order log that kept Tracy and Julie busy this week. Other than that, nothing really extraordinary except for, you'll see on page 7, we have our final distributions to the Convention and Visitors Bureau as well as Parks and Recreation, the hotel motel tax collected for the current fiscal year. And for the first time that I can remember in recent memory, we will not meet our hotel motel budget projections. This distribution this month of $10,916 to each entity brings the total distribution up to $335,209.82 for the fiscal year, which is $4,790.18 short of what we thought our collections would be, and it's directly related to COVID.
How was the total amount short, you said?
$4,790.18.
So that's still a minimal
It's
amount.
still
compared to
very,
what-
very good considering the March and April and May that we had, but we were still just a little bit short. And we're actually looking in to see whether under the CARES Act, whether we can
Backfill that.
backfill some of that.
Okay.
Does that call for a budget revision?
Yeah.
No, okay.
No.
And I have to agree with you when we're talking 109 pages there of budget revisions, or purchase order. I mean, that's yeah, that's significantly. Matter of fact, I don't even know if I've ever seen one that size.
Only during primary and general elections will we, and if you remember, we took action a couple of years ago to move poll workers from payroll to contracted services, so that all we have to do is a 1099. Makes it easier on the poll workers and easier on finance, although it taxes Tracy pretty good.
So being the last time for internal budget revisions, you have a few of those you'd like to
Yes, sir.
go?
This will be the last internal budget revision request that you receive for fiscal year 1920. And they are all requested to correct deficit balances. All of the departments will the departmental balances should be in the black. However, as you know, for purposes of auditing, we like to have our individual line items within the departmental budgets at least in the black. Although the auditors really don't scrutinize it that closely. The first request is for your department, Department 401 County Council. I'm requesting that you allow me to reduce line 341 supplies materials by $1,000. Current unencumbered fund balance is $20,557.40, with 56.95% spent to date, and increased line 222 dues and subscriptions by $1,000. That account currently has a deficit balance of $116.28. The next request is line Department 420 Facilities. Mr. Lang is on vacation, so I'm making the request on his behalf, requesting that you allow us to reduce line 459, capital outlay equipment by $1,500. Current unencumbered fund balance is $2,512.20, with 90.58% spent to date, and increase line 341 supplies and materials by $1,500. Current unencumbered fund balance is has a deficit balance of $76.17. The next request is Department 424 courthouse account. I'm requesting that you allow me to decrease line 215 building and grounds maintenance by $10,000. Current unencumbered fund balance is $103,375.91, with 42.24% spent to date, and increase line 240 refunds and reimbursements by $500. That line currently has a deficit balance of $335.58, and increase line 341 supplies and materials by $9,500. That currently has a deficit balance of $251.73. The next 6 requests are from information technology. Again, they are all to correct deficit balances or to provide adequate funding for some additional purchases that need to be made yet this fiscal year. First request is for Department 428. Mr. Wine is requesting that he be allowed to decrease line 219 building and equipment rental by $3,800. Current unencumbered fund balance is $19,014.81, with 88.72% spent to date, and increase line 221 telephone by $3,800. That account currently has a deficit balance of $3,754.77. We pay for all county cell phones, regardless of who they're assigned to or what department out of that particular line item. The next request for Mr. Wine is to decrease line 341 supplies and materials by $4,500. Current unencumbered fund balance is $70,657.22, with 85.41% spent to date, and increase line 216 maintenance and repair equipment by $4,500. That line currently has a deficit balance of $4,333.63. The next request, again from Mr. Wine, is to decrease line 341 supplies and materials by $8,520, and increase line 223 professional services by $8,520. That line currently has a deficit balance of $7,718.29. Next request from Mr. Wine again is to decrease supplies and materials by $10,130, and increase line 222 dues and subscriptions by $10,130. That account currently has a deficit balance of $9,947.19. The next request for information technology is to reduce line 219 building and equipment rental by $12,500. As I stated, that account currently has an unencumbered fund balance of $19,014.81, and increase line 223 professional services by $12,500. That account currently has a deficit balance of $7,718.29. The next request is to reduce line 341 supplies and materials by $9,910, and increase computer software line 453 by $9,910. That account currently has a deficit balance of $9,908.14. And finally, the last request from IT is to reduce line 341 supplies and materials by $55, and increase line 230 contracted services by $55. That line currently has a deficit balance of $54.
What is the unexpended balance? Take it over.
It's still within the 70,657.22. I make sure that we're not gonna run that into a deficit balance, so we're good.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Davis. We have a change in status, a letter of resignation received from the council's office for Andy Blake effective June 30th, 2020. Appears he's going to be working at the city of Martinsburg. We have approval of minutes for June 4th, 2020. Berkeley County Council meeting, everyone was present. We have county council calendar here. Berkeley County offices will be closed tomorrow for West Virginia Day. And we'll be back in the office again on the 2nd. Or on the 25th, I mean, sir.
25th.
And on the 2nd. Let's see where we at. We have on the 22nd, we have a 1 p.m. Historic Landmarks meeting, as well as a 5 p.m. Water District meeting. On the 24th, we have a 10 a.m. CVB meeting, as well as a 3 p.m. Senior Services meeting. On the 25th, we have a 5 p.m. library meeting, as well as a 5 p.m. ambulance authority meeting. And then on the 26th, we have councilperson Whitaker will be on WEPN. Okay. Any questions there? Changes? All good? All good with that? We have a grading bond release. 1601 WV LLC BCP number 038-18 Engineering Department. We have another grading bond release from Martinsburg Investors LLC permit R00380-18 Engineering Department. I trust that all the, Mr. Stansberry, I trust that all those properties are, common properties are being deeded as they should be.
Yeah, those are both commercial projects. The Virginia Avenue literal, where it's at, that's the new storage facility. And the Martinsburg group is at 8 acres of storage building off of Development Drive.
Okay. Get plenty of storage to put your stuff in. Well, that's good. Everybody gotta have a place to put their stuff.
And that doesn't take a lot of water and sewage.
Doesn't take a lot of water to, yeah, definitely brings in the tax base, because they charge a good bill in taxes on those things. Trust me.
You know, don't
I know. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Hess, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
From the assessor's office last week, we had a total of 6 personal property office errors we had to correct. And if you total them up, come up to $1,404.34. And the reasons were as listed on the sheet there. So that's all we had for last week.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion due to the 6 personal tax exonerations.
first time we move this moderation for personal property taxes in the amount of 1404.34.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Hess.
Thank you. That
Quick
takes
meeting.
care of my minute for this week. See you next.
Thank you. Board and meeting reports. Mr. Barnhart, do you have anything for us today?
Well, actually, just want to make a motion that, make a mention that today is Jay Rockefeller's birthday. He's, I think, 83. Very successful period of time as a delegate, governor, senator. This one. And I had a Board of Health meeting which I was unable to attend, which was also on Zoom, which I didn't go.
You don't go for Zoom, you just do it.
They want something to fun.
Fair enough, fair enough. Small.
I had a number of meetings. We had the rec board had a meeting over that. Regular meeting, which was nice. I think everybody was just glad to get out and see everybody, because normally you're on a, like you said, on a small screen. Number of things. One is, of course, they've got a lot of return funding for activities. They're trying to figure out what they can do for the fall as far as fall sports. The pool will open July 13th. They're only open. The only one they're opening, and on the other side, I understand that the EPA is trying to put kids up and take them to town. So that would be a plus, but the issue is.
Since you brought that up, it did disappoint me that their decision to close the pool and not make recommendations or accommodations for those people to get to the one pool that they were going to open, when a lot of those children have to walk to that pool.
Well, that's where I was going on the next step. They only had,
Sorry for
they
interrupting.
need like 36 lifeguards, and they only have 18. So that's a major issue, because you gotta have so much staff to do it. So, and of course, then on the other side, they are with all facilities. And
So what you're saying is that they're not going to need all of their funding anyway this year, because they're, so being $4,000 short is probably not a big issue if they're not going to fund that pool, right?
But again, on the other side, a lot of the pool funding comes from the tickets. So but the city of Martinsburg didn't pick up,
Still
like,
gotta maintain their.
to maintain it. I think the city of Martinsburg puts in over 30,000 a year just to make sure that one pool stays open. So, because of the extra expenses. So it's been a number of issues, but,
Did they ever get the new pipe?
yes, they've gotten all that fixed. They've got a new, at Memorial, they've got one of those shower type things that you can run through. So they got that open, ready to go. They also have, some regular employees are not coming back as far as the part-time people they had, and does things like cleaning. And since we have pavilions that have restrooms, and we've got all these parks that have restrooms, the extra cleanup as far as with the products and stuff that you need to keep these restrooms, they're gonna be cleaned times a day when they open full time. Because somebody had written on Facebook, said, well, how can you have a park if you don't have a restroom? Well, according to the maintenance health standards, you have to do that. And the parks are now open, and they had closed off different parks. And so because it's gotten really warm, everybody took the gates and stuff down and was in there playing on it anyway. So they're trying to maintain and keep things clean. What they do have, they have the staff has got some type of antibacterial product that they keep on, like a
Spray
big
pack.
spray that they go in and they clean things up, and then they spray everything down. So they've stepped into it, but again, there's an extra expense for these products because they're not cheap. So maybe they'll probably be, like you said, some of this stuff will be eligible under the COVID Act because of the products they have to use to keep. They're still working with Rachel and Tracy over here at the grant department, and they were talking about 5013C stepping up, and of course they said that they needed a 10-year strategy plan, and I told them that to talk to Region 9 and see what some help there. And I'm trying to get back with the college. They started my plan, and then when everything went south, we're on hold trying to get back to everybody that was supposed to be involved. So
I had one of the members call me and said that they thought there was a plan in place, but it was an old plan. They don't have that. It was never finished, or
what they call the plan is the comprehensive plan Berkeley County has. And they, in their mind, that's the plan.
So, are you working to get a meeting set up with them to try to come up, or are they going to, or is the idea just to hire that out and have somebody else?
There's no way they can hire it out. They
Right.
don't, I mean, it's about 30, well, what was the airport was 69,000.
Right,
So you're looking at at least 50.
right. So are you guys gonna set up a meeting and try to do a mind melt with,
Well, I'm gonna work with this, but this was the first meeting of the new administrator. So, and there's a lot of things on the table. We're gonna be meeting in July at the Randy Smith facility. It's now finished. And then we'll be looking for dedication in August or September for that and the Goldie Gibbons. But we're trying to work, Goldie Gibbons, it's family, and since it's totally 100% funded by the family, it's whatever. None of them live in the area anymore. Most of them live in Texas. It's a challenge to do. So that's a lot of things happening.
It would be nice to see a long-term plan put in place and give some numbers so that the community together could try to come up with some way to fund and look forward to the growth of the Parks and Rec.
Well, in the project that I've been working on, I haven't quite completed it, is trying to get, calling the different counties and getting the right people. Not everybody's still in place, you know, and I've been trying to get the stats of what they put into funding. I have about 15 counties that I haven't acquired. However, in my travels with calling all these people, there's 6 or 8 different types of levies that they have, and one of them is parks and libraries. Some of them is life things, and it's fire, ambulance, and parks. So there are several different options, and I have told the library and I have told the rec board, in the big picture, if we don't end up getting a 1-cent sales tax or something that we can count on, or transfer something to fund what we have, you're gonna have to look down the road at this. So I'm going that we're going that direction. It's just a matter of getting all our ducks in a row now.
But the other side of the lane is that if you have a plan
Right.
put in place and you've got a plan that everybody can look at, there are often, when people pass on, their property gets donated to different causes. And if somebody sees the vision and the plan, you know, there's a possibility that somebody could say, you know what, I want to donate my property to be sold to benefit the moving this part of that plan forward in the north end or the south end or whatever, you know.
That's where I'm going, but again, I think the new guy is overwhelmed at this particular point. I've got to give him a little bit of breathing space before we get going. But I'm hoping to have the study done when I get to talk to him. So I'm looking at 1st of September, trying to, you know, so I have all these ducks in a row as far as numbers, looking at those. But it's, the other side of the picture is they have, Thursdays, they have music at the park. But right now, because of the numbers, because you can't have concerts under the governor's regulations, so they're going to wait till the end of June whether or not we're going to have any of those. Of course, the War Memorial Park fireworks city has already postponed or canceled that to next year. What they're looking at is some of the people they paid for, some of them have not, but they're going to try to get the ones that have they've got a little more money invested and get them moved to September. It's still warm in September if trying to beat, at least get these people here. But all the concerts are not going to be able to be included because they had like 12. They would be lucky when everything gets on the schedule, they can get 6 in. So they're working very additional. And City of Martinsburg, Nancy Stein has come up with another $20,000 to finish the Oak Street bathrooms, which is phenomenal. So that's very good. And there's no summer day camp, no contact sports, and no swim lessons in June. They're looking at July. But the new thing, okay, to teach sports. If you have basketball camps, you can have a basketball camp, but there can be no contacts. The way it's taught, I'm just like, this guy's explaining this, so he's on the ball in this. It's not my neighborhood.
He's on what?
He's on the ball in this. Everybody gets a grid. Yes.
Okay.
You get a grid. So you have a 6x6 or an 8x8 grid. This is your space. So I teach you ball handling skills. And we can put cones in there and we can do this, and I'm thinking, this guy hasn't worked with little kids for a while. I mean, he was on a college level. You get a bunch of little kids, keeping them in at 8 or 10 foot. Hey, I'll give him credit. This is what's coming down from the top. That we're talking about sports and
Here's
everything.
an idea. I'll just throw this out there, and it just popped into my head. That happens sometimes. You ever see them bubbles that they have that
Inflatables.
inside? It's an inflatable bubble. Put them all in bubbles and let them make them do everything.
Yeah, but I
they
mean,
can't touch each other.
but again, when he was talking grid, I'm thinking, yeah, when I have 70 to 80 kids or whatever, and you've got a grid, how big you gonna have them on a football field? You know, by the time you get their space. But everybody's trying to come up with ideas on how to do and keep the sports and activities. And I think this year's going to be a real challenge, whatever happens. So Rec Board is busy trying to keep things going. And the Ambrose Park cell tower, they're waiting on some final permission from the Ambrose building or something that it won't be interfering with, I guess, their broadband or something. So that's the whole other point for that particular thing. The good thing about this cell tower when it comes in is the funding from that will pay for a full-time person to run Ambrose Park. So that with the kids, that once we get it open and we need staffing there, and unfortunately, with all this, looting and damage, the dinosaur bones got broke. So they've got to get some funding to get the dinosaur bones fixed. So there's been a lot of things going on, just trying to, you have that much property, it's spread out all over the place. So that's the one issue. The other is the roundhouse. We had the construction meeting on Wednesday, and the gentleman in charge stated that we should be done by the end of July. I'm not holding my breath, but like we said, we're on the line to be completed at the end of July. What fascinated me was the gentleman that is in charge of construction says, did we ever get the paperwork to allow the fire suppression system? And I personally said, it was delivered to Alpha on Monday, whatever date. You mean to tell me you haven't got it yet? That was 2 weeks ago. So they now have it.
Well, that's good.
Just things get interesting. I had a meeting on Saturday with those of us that are trying to work with the roundhouse and the Hill Fire Truck Muster. We decided to postpone it to next year because, again,
The next year.
yeah, the 22, because to get it ready right now, you have to have contracts and all this other stuff, and we can't, and you have to pay a plan. We can't do it.
So you're going to end up with the bathrooms and not be.
Oh, that's not the
Have
problem. We
those-
got 6 weddings lined up. It's like people's on mark, get set, roll, But the one thing that did concern me about the roundhouse construction meeting was, well, have you got the evaluation done on that floor? And I'm thinking, what does that have to do with the bathrooms? So I think the state is really sticking their nose into something that doesn't concern them. Mr. Cobb, I'm just letting you know, as usual.
As usual.
But I wanted to throw that out. So things have been interesting.
Are you talking about the second floor on
Yeah, the bridge shop.
building?
Yeah, because they wanted to know, and I said, that will be delivered, it'll be delivered in a couple of weeks. I need the other thing immensely, immediately. They got it to me, and he's got a couple of weeks to deliver the other. So I said, because it has nothing to do with the construction.
Didn't that floor have like machinery in it?
It had railroad track. What is that, 100
Right.
pounds per foot?
Right.
That's set across that floor.
Yeah.
We're talking, somehow they just want to have a hold of us. So anyway, it's been interesting this week.
It's an interesting constructed building by no doubt. I mean, it's unique how those buildings, they kept them in line by tightening bolts over
Oh,
different
yeah,
times of the
and
year.
turnbuckles and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And the thing is, regarding the second floor, the gentleman, of course, is working with, Crabtree and Werborough. And of course, they're very good on preservation, and they stated that if push gets to shove, it's gonna cost a little bit more money, but the wrought iron rods that come down to suspend the floor can be, because their tensile strength is not as heavy as steel, that they can be replaced with that if we have to go up, an extra whatever. Because as I said, you can't just put posts and bridges across underneath because it's a floating floor. It'll affect the national landmark. Can't do that. That's where we are.
I'm sure they'll come up with an occupancy for the second floor.
Oh, there, as I said, they gave me a run for the main HD, said they just didn't want to hear you. That's okay.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes, sir. Had planning commission meeting on Monday. I did attend in person with 2 other members, Ms. Barnhart and Daniel Gant, and the rest attended by Zoom. We had several public hearings, and I guess the biggest topic is that Clorox got their move ahead. So that will be commencing in the very near future in Inwood. So
Seen that in the paper.
Congratulations.
The governor's release.
it was a very, very nice letter from the governor that thanking our department and every member in there. So hats off to those 2.
Yep.
Dirk Stansberry, he's not here. He worked immensely on making sure things were tidy for them. So, as well as Brian, Heather, I mean the whole office. Laura.
They did, right? You're involved in that. You did
You
a little
know,
bit there.
I do what I need to do, and I give the rest to the ones that are hands on. So,
Thank you. I did have a, just look back and see, I did have obviously a transit authority, we went to the transit authority, and the transit authority was able to, in some modifications to their normal route, be able to accommodate moving people from the east side of town to the west side of town on a hourly basis. And they indicated that if that bus gets overcrowded, that they will make they'll make a dedicated bus just to make them. So they said they can definitely do that. They're still operating on a limited bus schedule with trying to maintain the social distancing and all. A little tough on the bus, but they're still working and doing that as well. So, but they are in the process of bringing the office staff back and getting back to normal function. So we'll see. And they're currently bidding on the Park Service busing down in Harper's Ferry. That's that they have to do. I think it's every 5 years. So they're working on that as well. And I did attend that meeting in person, although I didn't know we were still on Zoom. So they said, "Oh, well, we'll see you there." Well, when they say, "I'll see you there," I thought that doesn't mean on the screen. That means in person. And so I went there. So I sit in the corner, listen to them in the office there. Anyway, that's all about that. Anything else? Good? All right. Board and commission vacancies. You want to address anything there?
yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Tim Lewis to the planning commission for another 3-year term.
I have a motion to reappoint Tim Lewis to the planning. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else?
Yes, sir. Mr. Vice President, would you like me to make a motion to appoint Brad Close to another
I would.
term for the Eastern West Virginia Regional Airport Authority, 3 years?
Appreciate that. We have a motion and a second to appoint Brad Close to the Eastern West Virginia Regional Airport. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. All right. Interview. We have a Chester Cole here. Oh, over there, okay.
Didn't recognize it.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I
Yep.
wait, Renee.
Oh, okay, hold on.
I'm sorry. Renee Piper.
Is that a motion?
It's a motion.
We have another motion from Elaine,
Second?
and we have a second from Mr. Barnhart to Elaine.
I don't think
to
so.
appoint.
Same Jim, wrong last name.
or Whitaker, I'm sorry. Appoint Renee Piper, to the Senior Services Board. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you, sir.
housekeeping taken care of. Now, Mr. Cole, you come up and give us a little information about you.
Come up and give you a little brief?
Up to the podium there.
Okay.
Our normal process is to get you up here and grill you for about 4 hours and see why you want to be involved, and a little background about yourself, and things that we don't already know about you.
Okay, so before the 4 hours starts, I gotta have a timeout because I've been retired for 5 years and I'm not been in interviews in a long time. So
Okay.
maybe we could cut it to 2.
All right, we can cut it to a couple minutes.
So I am. Let's see how far back we go. I'm a veteran from the U.S. Navy. I served from 70 to 74.
Thank you.
Honorably discharged.
you.
A few years after I got out of the service, I went to work in the telecommunications industry. I was to give you an idea of the persistence that I have. I made a phone call once a week for 2.5 years to get that job, because at that time, post office or telephone or utility was a good place to get a career for longevity. So I got a job there as a janitor back in '77 when my career started. I worked there 38 years. My last 12 years, I was a regional sales manager here in West Virginia. The people that worked for me dealt with all the businesses, this county for one, all the commercial businesses for network solutions, phone systems, things like that. So I retired in 2015. My wife and I have been married for 48 years. We have 2 sons, one in Boston, one in Virginia Beach. They each have 2 kids. Our oldest is graduated yesterday. Got his diploma yesterday down in Virginia Beach. And like I said, I retired in 2015. I took a home inspection course after I retired, trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do. That was after I built a shed. I had to build something, I had to do something to, get right busy. My sales manager job was a very busy job. One of the reasons why I retired a little bit early, maybe I retired at 62, a little early than I expected, but my wife was a little tired of me being gone all the time because the job was pretty intense. I took that home inspection job. I started a little business of my own for about 2 years, then realized it was going to be a lot more effort than what I really wanted to put in, because there was a whole lot more marketing and, the whole real estate, realtors, and who's your customer type of thing was like, I guess I had had enough of that whole who's your customer when I worked at the phone company. So I decided that I didn't really want to pursue that any longer. So
Retired from that quickly.
I retired from that pretty quickly. Yeah. Matter of fact, yeah, that's funny. No, anyways. I have been, the last few years, I have mostly been active in prison and jail ministry. I've been working over here at the Eastern Region Jail, doing Bible studies with inmates on Monday nights and Wednesday nights. And I've been involved at Hagerstown, up in Hagerstown at Roxbury Prison through a Kairos International Ministry Program. I've been involved there. I've been on 5 of the retreats up there. They do 2 a year. I led the last one. And I'm just trying to enjoy retirement. And now with the social distancing, I'm really trying to learn what it means to relax and don't worry about ramming, because I don't think I've put on probably 100 miles on my vehicle in the last 3 months. So that's about who I am and what I've done and where I'm from.
So, you want to get involved in the county, do some public service here, much appreciated. We generally ask a few questions of you, so we'll start with the other Jim, Mr. Barnhart down there. He was,
It has an opening.
he was
Feel free to
recruited.
speak
There's-
freely.
there's
The
lots
door
of-
was behind
It
you.
has an opening, yeah.
I've been taking notes ever since you started.
It has an opening, and a good friend of mine thought that I needed more to do.
He's that good of a friend, is he?
He is a good friend. He is a good friend, and
Coincidentally, he might be going the other way, right? Doing less.
yeah.
That's
So I've been trying to help him. I've been trying to encourage him as he tries to encourage me.
Now that's a good friend.
But I think that also, I think that it has a vacancy, and it looks to me like I might be able to bring something to the table because of my background. I'm wise enough after working with businesses in my own company with strategies and things like that to realize that I'm not a finance person. My youngest son is an accountant, so he makes it clear that I'm not an accountant or a finance person, and I'm not a lawyer, and I'm clear on all of that. So I know my position, I know what I can offer, and I'm full of questions.
Well, you said that there was an opening there. You look at our list, there's lots of openings for lots of slots.
Yeah.
So, then of course you're more available with scheduling, and it's not going to be involved with meetings and times or anything like that.
Yeah, my schedule's pretty wide open.
Okay? Well, thank you for mine.
You mentioned that I'm going to kind of divert here a little bit to prison ministries. We have a gentleman in our church that's very active, and that's Ron Negley. Do you know Ron?
Oh, I know Ron. As a matter of fact, Ron's dad, Jerry,
Uh-huh.
is the one who got me interested to start with.
Okay.
And Ron is the one who basically introduced me to both the jail and the prison ministry.
That's okay.
So, yeah,
He's
yeah.
very active in our church. with
Ron's,
me, too, so.
yeah, he's been a good friend of mine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Same here. So we just made a connection. It's at 7 degrees of separation. There you go.
There you go.
So again, thank you for wanting to fulfill a position and devote your time to the county. And I know Doug said many times that the county is what it is because of the volunteers that we have. So we are way up there in the eyes of the other counties. And so with that, thank you for wanting to take part in it.
Thanks.
Well, I'll say the same thing. Much appreciate you wanting to be involved in helping the county out. We say all the time that volunteerism is declining in this country, and maybe it's not volunteerism. Maybe it's just friends not asking friends to get involved as much as they used to. So we'll have to thank your friend for prodding a little bit and convincing. It's good to see. It's good to see new people getting involved and helping out. I trust you're not on any other boards,
No.
so that is one of the requirements. Generally, when we do this process, generally we don't appoint at the same meeting, but I am going to entertain a motion to make an appointment today.
Before we do that, also your story was really neat, starting as a janitor and moving up through the ranks. That's quite an accomplishment, and I can see good things with the building commission with you because of where you started and where you ended up. So, and I'll make a
Thanks.
motion to appoint Mr. Cole to the building commission.
Second.
I haven't asked for discussion.
It's term or sentence. I'm not sure which one is it. And fulfill a term for how many years? 20 to 22. Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second and a discussion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you, Jay.
We do appreciate it. I did understand that you have a son in Boston and one down in Myrtle Beach, so obviously they have.
Virginia Beach.
Or Virginia Beach, they have a difference in climate that they definitely like. That's.
They're very different boys.
Yeah. Yep, I get it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. All right. So we're 5 minutes early. We're gonna go ahead and take a break.
Okay.
Smack that gavel.
Dang it.
Dang it, dang it.
Okay, we're back in session. We have another board and commission interview. We have Tammy Alexander. Would you come on up to the podium? We told the last guy we were gonna grill him for 4 hours, and I think he started to take me literally at the beginning there. He went clean back to childhood.
Well, at least he didn't pass out.
So, how are you doing today?
I am good. I'm good.
Good.
It's nice to actually put like real clothes on. I've been working from home for months now, and get out and see real people, and
Yeah.
it's great.
It's a difference after you've been kind of cooped up for a while. I'm
Yes,
sure.
sir. Yes,
And
sir.
unfortunately, I have not enjoyed the time off, so I have been full steam the whole time. And I have maybe too many obligations, at least that's what my wife says.
Well, that's only because you don't get to her to-do list.
So this kind of, it's just a formality. We need to ask you a few questions, hear a little bit of background about you and what you do and why you want to be involved in the community.
All right. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and thank you for letting me come. I am a new resident to Martinsburg. I've been in the railroad industry for 28 years, starting with Norfolk Southern out in Washington State, which is where I was born. I was an Air Force brat, born there, lived in Michigan and California, back to Washington. Started with the railroad after college in about a year in my actual chosen field, which was communications. And then once I worked for Norfolk Southern, I was out in Washington for several years and then decided to advance my career so my husband could stay home with our children. And so I moved to Roanoke, Virginia, which is where Norfolk Southern had a headquarters for a very long time. And I was there for several years working in our Translo group and our agriculture group. And then I moved to Jacksonville, Florida for a few years, up to Cleveland, Ohio for 6 years, longest place I lived anywhere so far. And then back to Roanoke. And then Norfolk Southern closed that headquarters and moved some of us to Atlanta, some of us to Norfolk. So we took the trip to Norfolk, which being from Washington State, where they're surrounded by water, it's beautiful. And so Norfolk, we got back to the water again. That was awesome. And being at headquarters was very interesting, a different environment. And then about 6 or 7 months ago, I saw the opportunity to come to work for Omnitrax with the Winchester and Western. As you all know, I'm sure Omnitrax purchased the Winchester and Western last September, and they were looking for a commercial person because of how much they think about this region and this railroad. There's two pieces to it here and in New Jersey. There's a lot of growth going on here, as you all know. So they were very excited about that. They wanted someone that could focus solely on this railroad. I'm the only commercial person that does that. So I picked up my husband and we moved up here. He works down in Roanoke most of the time. Right now he's up in New York City working the elections. He does wheelchair ramps for that. And so we moved here. We're in an apartment across the freeway over there and building a house. And it is our intention to be here for at least the next 10 years until I get the opportunity to retire.
Before you go back to the water?
Well, we'll see.
The humidity here is a lot different than it is when you're near the water, that's for sure.
Well, it is, and it's a lot different than out west, which is where I spent the majority of my life before moving back east. And but there's water everywhere, and as long as it's close. I also have my sound machine that does, the waves, so
You got a little background
you
noise.
get it however you can.
I get it. I
So.
get it. Well, thanks for coming in today. We're gonna turn it over to Mr. Barnhart and see if he's got any tough questions for you.
Well, my first question is, why do you want to develop it, or what can you do for, what kind of development, or anything you want to expand on?
Well, first of all, Omnitrax, one of their base tenets is growing our communities. And so we are very interested in being involved in the community. Personally, I have 28 years of rail experience, and I have been out in the field working with our industrial development folks. So I've worked through a lot of projects, and I feel like I have experience that I can share with the board and help to grow this community. I have lived in several big cities. I have lived in small communities, and I love small communities. This, to me, is a small community, and I love to see things grow, you know, to be vibrant, and there is so much potential here. And yes, I represent the railroad, and there is plenty of room on the railroad for expansion. Plus, if you're not aware, Omnitrax is owned by the Borough Group, which is a real estate investment group, and they are very interested in being involved here as well. And so we are just looking to be involved and help with that. And then definitely me specifically, the railroad knowledge is, I think, a big plus.
Several local businesses, industries that develop along the railroad will be utilizing it.
Right.
Great. But it's an efficient way to move product, finished and raw material.
Yeah, take those trucks off the road.
So I'm very pleased with how the railroad is expanding. And I guess that into more trains, more rail cars, more everything.
Well, that's our goal.
Go ahead, get them.
Okay.
Well, as you remember, I'm part of the Roundhouse Authority. And,
Yes, ma'am.
a lot of other type activities that are quality of life. So I know that for development, the good communities have good quality of life programs. Looking for the Roundhouse to be the community center because we'll see 6 that are better and those kinds of things that we can move forward. So I'm always pushing for other people to become members of the board. So that help. And of course, with the Omnitrax, whether you become a member of the board or not, I might be talking to you too about some things with rails and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So as I said, I have a contact in one of your main offices, but I've been so busy with so many things, I haven't been able to sit down and get to that particular level. So I really thank you for coming forward, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Mr. Whitaker.
Thanks for coming in. I don't have any questions. I think after reading your background, I think it would be a great asset to have you on any board that the county would open up to. So starting with the Development Authority, I think would be pretty good, but there's other boards that I think you could be very well suited for too. So thank you for wanting to apply. But I do have some more ideas I'll tell you about it after this, as far as for trains and stuff. So.
I'll leave my card.
Okay.
So are you interested in any other boards?
I'd be willing to serve on the Roundhouse board as well. Elaine had talked to me about that previously. Beyond that, I have to tell you, I have not researched anything else.
Right.
So I'm willing to serve where you need me. I'm also interested personally in getting to be a part of the community. It's difficult when you're just moving in, and frankly, it seems like there's a lot of people here that have been here forever, and so sometimes it's hard to get to know people and that kind of thing. But
Tuesday morning, Sunrise Rotary at the Holiday.
Sunrise.
Yeah, 7:30.
They do have an afternoon rotary.
Yeah, they do have on
I was gonna
Thursdays.
say, how about 7 p.m.?
There is an afternoon rotary, different group.
Okay. Good
But,
to know.
Both are very, very active in the community. Do a lot of
yeah,
fundraising.
I'm a member of the Tuesday morning, and I find it real difficult to make those meetings, and maybe
Same
it's
here.
just because of my schedule now in the last 5 years since I've been a council member and deal with all these, so it is tough. Of course, I don't know that the afternoon would be any easier for me, but
I'm just not a morning person.
So thanks for wanting to get involved. Thanks for moving here, and thanks for being part of Omnitrax. We're very interested in seeing what Omnitrax is going to do in the future in this area. I've sat in several meetings with Omnitrax. I sit on the Development Authority, and They're encouraging to listen to their history and what they've done in other areas. If I remember right, a couple months ago, you guys had some large projects going down in
Savannah.
Georgia.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's moving right along.
Yeah, but no, I mean it's good to have another partner that's interested in being involved in making a difference. You know, the Winchester and Western, in my opinion, is underutilized at this point.
Absolutely.
And there's plenty of room for potential to make a difference out there. Keep in mind that the Development Authority. Have you met Sandy?
Oh,
Keep in mind that the Development Authority, you don't have to be a member to sit on a committee out there. There's several
okay.
committees out there, and we have some board members that are on the committees to help advise and do that type of thing. So that's always a possibility as well.
Yeah, wherever you need me.
One of the things I like about on the tracks is they have so much visionaries. And, you know, sometimes people come in and it's this little box that they're working for. And right now, Berkeley County is right on the edge of absolutely exploding from the visionaries, which we don't seem to have. Like you said, we've got too many people that have been from here that have not worked with visionaries. And it's that's what I appreciate.
Yeah.
And that's how the owner got involved in the beginning. Was he bought a piece of property, and then at the closing table found out that the railroad went with it. Now, what is it, 25 or 27 rails that they own?
I think we're at 22 because we got rid of a couple, and they're everywhere. They got their fingers in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Huge. Okay, well, thank you for coming in today, and we'll give it some consideration.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and I will leave my card with all of you if that's all right.
Great, that's fine.
Not get too close.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you ever need anything?
Yeah, I'll be getting back. No, free. I'll be getting back to doing questions.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay. Bring this up to, do we have anybody that's going to take part in the COVID discussion today?
We are not expecting anyone today.
Okay.
Just two real brief things under your COVID-19 updates. We did receive, our Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management did receive a pretty large donation of face masks from Hanes this week that we've made available. They delivered a case to the council office stating for he asked to be made out of t-shirt material.
I'm glad it wasn't the underwear.
Packaged in packs of 5, so we did receive a sizable donation from Hanes. Also, we continue to work with the governor's office and Senator Manchin's office on the CARES Act grant disbursements. We've submitted a slightly more than $1.5 million in requests for reimbursement for expenses that we feel fall under the CARES Act grant. So Keith McIntosh and Berkeley Bentley have been very, very good resources for us, and certainly are working on our behalf. So we're anxious to work through that process. I see Brian did today.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, it's employees, all that, everything going pretty good right now.
Yes, sir. Have not had any issues.
Good. Do we have any in the county that we know of? Any new cases? Anything?
No, sir. No, we had 3 active cases, 2 in the sheriff's department and 1 admin, but no problems with any of those 3 positive cases. All the employees have been cleared to come to work. Have not had issues at all that we're aware of.
Okay. Mr. Costello, we've been waiting on you. Doing work, well, that's good.
Yeah, it is still morning. Good morning. Nothing new, really. We're still continuing doing the job, taking care of folks throughout the county. Our folks that we've had in self-monitoring have been great. We do continue to see the spike in our overdoses the last few days, more so than we had in the weeks prior. So we're really working diligently with our partners to keep moving forward and how we begin to take a bite out of those things. And it's a daily struggle, as many of you guys know. You guys talk to Tim and get briefed by him, and it's been quite challenging. But we're still working on our grant funding as far as getting prepped for a possible second wave of this that seems to be gradually going through. Nothing that's not unexpected, but we're still struggling with the suppliers as far as PP and things like that. Even though we're sitting in a good place, we do, when you've put out a $22,000 order for disinfectant and various other things like that, and it's just kind of an infinity of a hold until this stuff comes in, because you and the rest of the free world are doing the same thing. So we'll just continue to monitor that, keep moving in the right direction, keep reminding our people that, hey, it's still out there. Remind the community to use a mask if you got it, more so for you rather than for someone else. But subject to any questions you may have, I'll get back out of here and let you get back to the business of the county.
And let you get back to work, right?
Well, yeah, I'm just, I'm doing some things, moving down the road,
Well, we've heard that that there's this worry about a second wave of this happening when cold weather comes back, and when we basically get back into the flu season. So obviously want to continue to do whatever we can to help to make sure that PPEs, that is all taken care of. So at least that's one less thing you got to worry about if that does happen.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the EOC has been very proactive in things that they're getting out in the community, as well as things that we've received. Like I said, the second wave, as we're calling it, is truly speculation based on what the common flu does. But, you could almost say that whether you call it second wave or a continuation, you just want to be prepared. You just don't know to what level it's going to go. So that's what we're continuing to do. And when it happens, we'll be ready.
I think, and from what I see on the roads now, it looks like the traffic flow is starting to increase. So I'm sure you're going to have to deal with more accidents, those type of things. I'm sure that's going to start building as well. So.
I think that's already upon us.
Right.
It really is.
I know Misfunction Junction's back to being Misfunction Junction.
It's been crazy, and even town yesterday, folks going home was crazy because they're working on stoplights. So, I mean, if you don't know the city, you're kind of stuck. So, fortunately, I grew up around here, but lived in Jefferson County. So,
And if the state road would know if you're roadside right away, somebody else.
Yeah, some of them are really tough to get around.
yeah,
Yeah, I had an 18-foot trailer on the back of mine coming down to Raleigh Street yesterday and got stuck, and I'm like, really? Can't go down alleys, I mean, I could have, but
You chose not
I
to.
thought, yeah, so I need to take a fender off on something. So.
but the big thing for me this morning was coming in. I came in early and noticing that the Walmart truck stop has opened up again. So, I mean, it was plumb full of 18-wheel vehicles there, just vehicles running, people sleeping. So,
That also has a lot to do with the new electronic monitoring of drivers. I
correct.
mean, when they hit that number of hours driving, they better find a spot pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Well,
Limited
the funny thing is there's big signs right all on the outside edge of Martinsburg Park that says no truck
Trucks.
parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
think,
that it's actually, and I've got an RV and I go different places, and if we're going to stay at a Walmart, and we have overnight on a long run, but we call ahead, and that Walmart's policy is it's up to the manager of the store. So even though it says that, it's always up to the manager of the store to make that decision.
Well, I think there for a couple of days early on in the COVID thing, they were putting those barnacle boots on the windows of those trucks. And then I noticed that last for about a week and then that just went away altogether. So I'm assuming somebody got a little upset. But
We gotta have trucking, that's for sure. Anything else?
Gotta have Walmart.
Yes. Always.
Yeah, gotta have food. Yeah, a lot of people shop there, that's for sure.
Transient people, a lot, that's what going through.
Yeah, but they know where the store is at.
well, if there's nothing else for me, if you guys need anything, you know how to get in touch with me at any time. Other than that, I'll get out of here and let you continue on.
We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. That one done. 5 minutes early. Sounds like we were at when we took break. I guess we'll, I'll entertain a motion for, executive session. to
Personnel matter.
Personnel.
So moved.
Second. Is there any decision?
No, sir.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session.
We'll have to wait a few minutes until the gentleman gets his
I got it.
equipment floor down.
Since I didn't move from the first break on break.
We get somebody to drag him out of here.
Grab everybody's demand button.
Okay, we are back in session. Items from the public? No items from the public? We are recessed. Oh, I should have said no action taken.